It's been a while since I've updated you guys on everything that I carry on a day-to-day basis for photography. So before we get started, I just want to stress the point that if I'm going to be carrying around a camera every single day, everywhere I go, I don't want it to be a heavy backpack. Carrying around a heavy backpack makes photography feel more like work rather than an integral part of my day-to-day life. Finding the perfect camera bag was extremely important to me. I wanted something that was relatively lightweight that I could carry around, just throw in the car when I go somewhere. And for me, that has been the Clever Supply Co. Sling. Now I've made a full what's in my camera bag video for this sling, so I'm not gonna go over everything in here. You can go watch that video if you wanna check it out. But a couple things have changed, so I just wanted to update you guys on what is currently working best for my photography workflow. For me, probably the biggest thing that has changed has been upgrading to the Sony a7C-R. If you've seen my recent videos, you will know that this has become my primary camera. For me, this camera serves a similar purpose as to why so many people like to carry the Fuji X100V or like a Q2 or Q3. For me, the a7C is that camera. And even with this grip extension on, it still fits in my camera bag easily. I also just recently picked up this leather strap from Clever Supply Co. If you know them, they have been a longtime supporter of the channel, and I was previously using their adjustable strap, but I wanted something that wasn't adjustable, and I chose the 36-inch. As you can tell, I currently have it mounted to the side and the bottom. For me personally, it's easier to just throw over the shoulder and then just lift up, take photos. I was not a big fan of having the strap on both sides of the camera because I found whenever I was taking photos, especially in like a portrait orientation, the strap would always kind of get in the way with the rangefinder style viewfinder of the a7C. So for about the past 7-8 months, I've been rocking it like this, and I have no complaints about that. And the main lens that stays on my camera probably 95% of the time is the 35mm 1.8. I found this lens to be the perfect happy medium when it comes to the size. I was previously using the 35 1.4 G Master, but for me it was just a little bit too big to want to carry around everywhere. And the size is pretty much perfect. If it was any bigger, I probably would not want to carry it around everywhere with me. And that's that for my primary setup. I'm currently carrying two other lenses in my camera bag as well. The first one being the 50mm 2.5. I really love this lens for the small compact size. And if we take this lens hood off, you'll see just how small this lens really is. And I found these lens hoods on Amazon that I really love because the ones that come with the 50mm and the 24mm, I'm just not a big fan of them. But as you'll see, they kind of give this lens a more vintage aesthetic, which is just very pleasing. This has probably become my second most used lens. For a long time, I was not a big fan of 50mm. I just thought the focal length was kind of boring. But as of recently, I've really been starting to enjoy the 50mm focal length because it's nice for getting detail shots, and the portraits that come out of the 50mm 2.5 are actually really nice as well. And the third lens that I'm carrying in my camera bag is the 24mm 2.8. Personally, I just find 24mm like the 35 to just be a great everyday carry focal length as well, especially paired with the a7C-R. So this lens has been extremely convenient. If I don't feel like carrying the whole camera bag around, I'll just throw this on my a7C-R and I can use it in 24mm, and when I put it in the crop mode, it's about 35mm. So it kind of just becomes that perfect all-around lens. And as you can see, I also have a vintage style lens hood for the 24mm as well. Different from the 50mm, which just makes it easy when I'm pulling it out of my camera bag, I'm not accidentally grabbing the wrong lens. So if you've seen the what's in my camera bag video that I mentioned earlier, you'll notice that one lens is missing, and that is the 28mm 1.8. I recently stopped carrying this lens around with me because I found myself just not really using it very often. I still love this lens. I'm not gonna sell it. I'm not planning on ever getting rid of it. It's kind of the perfect wide angle lens for me that isn't too wide and it doesn't have any crazy distortion, but I found myself not really using it on a day-to-day basis. If when I'm going out to shoot, I think I may use this lens, I'll throw it in my camera bag, I'll replace the 24 with this lens, but as of right now, I'm not really carrying it with me. I don't really expect to use it, so it has been put to the side. So I'm carrying three lenses in here, a 24mm, 35mm, and 50mm. All of which I just find to be the perfect everyday carry focal length. And all of the lenses are pretty small, so depending on what my mood is that day, I will generally throw one of these lenses on and then stick with that for the whole day. I'm not a big fan of swapping out lenses when I'm out shooting, and personally I'm not a big fan of using zoom lenses. Ironically, I don't really like using zoom lenses because I find them a lot more limiting, especially when compared to compact primes. Mainly because the added size of a zoom lens just also makes me not want to carry my camera out to take photos. But personally, you might disagree, and that's totally fine too. I really like using prime lenses because it might sound kind of cheesy, but it almost feels like you become one with the camera. It stops feeling limiting pretty quickly and can really change your approach when it comes to taking photos. You'll find yourself thinking a little bit more outside of the box. And that is it for my camera bag. Lastly, we're gonna go over a couple things I keep in my car that I never quite know when I'm gonna need, but when I do, I'm glad I have them. So these three items stay in my car pretty much all of the time. The first one being this Condor Blue Everyday Carry Multi-Tool. I recently got this at Sony Condo, and ever since then I've been carrying it with me everywhere, and I can think of multiple times it has come in pretty clutch. Having this is especially convenient if you have any accessories for your camera or your tripod that require Allen wrenches. It is especially convenient because it has a screwdriver and Allen wrench sizes that cover pretty much everything that you could possibly need. And next up, this thing pretty much just lives in my car. I have this compact travel tripod. I will include a link below to this tripod, but it's a pretty decent tripod. It's by Manbilly. It's got your standard ball joint tripod head. Overall, it's nothing special, but it's sturdy and it's affordable. And the last thing, I have a lens and sensor cleaning kit. I keep one in my car and in my studio because the last thing you want when you're out shooting is to have a bunch of crap on your lens or your sensor. And I know no one likes clone stamping out dust particles on your photos in Lightroom. And that is everything that has become a part of my everyday carry photography kit. Now with all that stuff, that is a lot, but generally this bag is the only thing I pick up and touch on a day-to-day basis. I like to keep things fairly minimalistic, so when I'm at home and I want to go out and take photos, all I have to do is grab my camera bag, hop in the car, and I don't have to worry about a bunch of other camera gear. So no matter where I go, it could be anywhere in the world, with this camera bag and these three lenses and this camera, I know I could get all of the photos I want. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to help support me so I can continue growing and reaching a larger audience. And I hope I can inspire you guys to get out and take more photos. Go out and shoot.